Our basement looks a bit different all of a sudden. Oh, that's right. We're in the Creeping Dark 2 world today. Now to play the game of... Where the hell did I leave off? It's been so long I don't remember what I was doing. And knowing me, that means it's been longer than 30 seconds. Well, one of the things we've done is we've gotten some osmium, which means we've unlocked a mechanism. Which means we can, build some upgrades for these machines. And some others. So let's pulverize this osmium and start making machines with it. Well, the first thing we want is the Metallurgic Infuser. Let's stick it here for now. Now, right now, we're hurting for power, and making these upgraded mechanism machines is not going to help matters. So let's work on doing a power upgrade before we go any further. What I'd like to use is a mod called Advanced Generators. And what it offers is basically modular multi-block energy generating structures. We can build a multi-block structure that can burn solid fuel or liquid fuel, or get energy from lava or steam, or maybe a couple other options. Let's start with the gas turbine. The gas turbine is a multi-block that will generate energy from liquid fuels. So it can burn oil-based fuels and some biofuels and stuff like that. Now I've got the controller here, and this lists out the things that you can possibly put into a gas turbine. A lot of this is optional. The main thing we're going to need is the controller itself. We'll need at least one turbine. We'll need a power emitter module to get power out of it. And we'll need a fuel intake to put fuel into it. I think the rest is optional. We'll find out. So let's start off by making some of these common components. So these iron frames are going to be used a lot. This power I/O module we're going to need at least one of. We're going to need some of these iron windings. We'll need some of these redstone windings. Definitely need at least one of those. We'll need at least one of those. And it looks like it's time to make some more, to expand our crafting. We now return you to your regularly scheduled game lag already in progress. Alright. Plonk. Plonk, 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 plonk. I missed. Alright, now we have some space to put these guys in. In you go, in you go, in you go, that can go away, that can go away, that can go away, that can go away, that can go away! Alright. Now, if I take this controller, and just plonk it down, and right-click on it, it'll tell me what we're missing. Now, we need at least one turbine. Turbines what actually generates the energy, but then more and or better turbines get you more energy. Now, we're just going to make a basic one, and even that, we're short on iron for. I'm gonna put a hold on this for just a second. Slosh, splash, slosh, splash, slosh, splash, slosh, splash. Yonk. Instead of using up all our power, let's use the smeltery to get some of this iron processed. It'll be quicker, and it will not murder our power. Now we have a turbine. So, in the strictest of senses, we have a functional gas turbine. But there's a couple more things we need. First of all, we need a way of getting fuel into it. And second of all, we need a way of getting power out of it. Oh my god. Commence with the yak shaving! Okay, I've been to that cave. That's probably had all the goods digged out of it. Okay, you know what? Fuck you. I'm gonna dig a bit. Finally, here's some. Maybe that'll do for now. Well, I seem to have made a bit of a mistake. I've programmed this recipe for patterns to allow substitutions. But what that's causing to happen is it's using our non-pure certus to build them instead of making pure certus. So that's lame. I've never programmed it to make pure certus either. Interesting. Right, let's program this thing to make pure certus so I don't have to deal with this manually anymore. So if I plonk down a fluid intake valve, that will give us a way to pipe fluids in, pipe fuel in. If we plunk out this flux generator, that will generate an output RF. Now, the only thing we need now is liquid fuel. We don't have any at the moment, but we can make some with this structure. Syngas producer. If I plonk down, then plonk down the controller, and once again, it'll tell us if we're missing anything. So we need a mixing chamber. And you're going to tell me I'm out of iron, aren't you? We're missing 1 irons. We have... oh, wow. Now we can get into the controller, and this will also tell us we need a heating chamber. And you will definitely tell me we're out of iron now. We're out of irons. Motherfucker. There's a little bit of irons. Also, just noticed, I've not refilled my safety bucket. Nothing could possibly go wrong there. Oh, cave. Well, let's light the bitch up. Being able to light stuff from afar is immensely useful. Yonk. Yonk. Oop. Oh, and no safety bucket. This is a... what the... oh, fuck. Flail. Fuck you. Oh, emerald. Let's see if we can refill our safety bucket. We have water. If I can get to... don't lag me out now. This is not the time. Ah! Alright, I'm out of here. This is why you always keep your damn safety bucket with you. Right, now we put the heating chamber down, And to make this useful, we need to put down a fluid output so we can actually get the fuel out of it. Now, this will burn wood or charcoal or possibly a few other things. Coal, I think. Let's start by just... Can we put Twilight Oak in? Yes. So put that in. Oh, this needs water, as I recall. Yes, so we also need a fluid intake valve, and we need to put water in it. If I remember correctly. Let's drop you down. Connect you to the X-net. Oh, I missed. I missed again. So let's send water into the fluid intake valve. And now it's getting water. And it's starting to heat up. Let's wire this up. We need a connector here and here. And as you can see, we're starting to produce some syngas. So, for reasons which are not clear to me, this does not seem to like the XNet system. XNet will not pull the syngas out of here. So what I've done is, I've attached a fluid tank, which this is now dumping the syngas into, and that does get pulled out of... The XNet will pull the syngas out of here, and send it into here to generate energy. And we filled up our energy cube. So, basically, the way this system works is, we put some burnable fuel in here, it burns it and generates syngas, which is basically a burnable fluid fuel. That gets piped into this gas turbine, which burns it to make energy. Which is making quite a bit more than our basic thermal batteries over here. So now we might actually have energy to run these damn machines. So now that we've got the power to run it, let's take a look at what we can do with the Metallurgic Infuser. Now the infuser takes two inputs. You put something in this slot, and it gets melted down. So one redstone gets melted down into 10 millibuckets, and then put something solid in to infuse it into. So, mixing redstone with iron gets you an infused alloy. And also, if you mix redstone with osmium, you get a basic control circuit. And there's one subtlety there. That is, you need 2 redstones, or 20 millibuckets, to make a control circuit, versus just the one to make an infused alloy. Now these two things are some of the basic building blocks of mechanism machines. So for instance, you can make something called an energized smelter, which is Mechanism's idea of a furnace, and for that we need a steel casing, for which we need steel and glass and osmium, and a couple of these circuits, and some redstone and glass. One of the other things the Metallurgic Infuser can do is it can make steel. You get that by first mixing iron with carbon, which you can get from charcoal. Then you take that enriched iron and infuse it with more carbon, and you get steel dust, which you can just smelt in a furnace. Now, you can use either coal or charcoal to make steel. Charcoal is better for 2 reasons. Number 1, it's cheaper, you can get it from wood. Number 2, if you put coal in, you get 10 millibuckets. If you put charcoal in, you get 20 millibuckets, so it's more efficient. Another useful thing we'll want to make is the Enrichment Chamber, which, among other things, is an ore doubler, similar to the crusher or pulverizer or similar. I'm going to make the Enrichment Chamber first. One thing the Enrichment Chamber does, apart from doubling ores, is you can put redstone into it, for instance, and that can be put into the Metallurgic Infuser, and that's equivalent to 8 redstones. So if we drop this in here, instead of getting 10 millibuckets, we get 8. So we get 8 times as much stuff per redstone dust. We can do a similar thing with charcoal. This gets you enriched carbon, which is equivalent to putting in 4 charcoals or 8 coals. Another thing the Enrichment Chamber can do is, if you have certus quartz seeds, like the ones I accidentally crafted earlier, that you get by mixing certus and sand, you can use it to turn them into pure certus crystals. Now you may notice, these machines are fairly slow. But the beauty of it is, these are also upgradable. We can make things called speed upgrades, which will increase the speed of machines. We can also make energy upgrades, which cause them to use less energy, which you'll definitely want to use if you're using speed upgrades, because the speed upgrades will absolutely murder your power. The first machine I'm going to install these upgrades into is this one. Partly for demonstrative purposes, but also because we'll want to use it to make further upgrades. So, you can see this is fairly slow. So, take these energy upgrades, you can shift right-click on the machine and it will shovel them in. If you look in this Upgrades tab, you'll now see we have 4 energy upgrades, which makes it 3 times more energy efficient. And now let's take the speed upgrades and do the same. And now you can see that's sped it up quite a bit. And now we've got some alloys that we can use to make some more upgrades. Although right now we're waiting for some glass to smelt up. I've also made an energized smelter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to yank the upgrades out of this. I'm going to install it into here. And we're going to see if we can smelt up some of this strange sand. This should be a bit quicker than using the thermal expansion furnace. And yes, that strange glass does work for these. Alright, so let's take this out. Let's take out this redstone furnace. Let's replace it with this energized smelter. Now, we need to configure the sides. Not unlike the configuration for the thermal expansion machines, but you need to tell it which side you want input or output or whatever going to. Right now, we have input from the top, because that's where our interface is connected, and output out the bottom, because that's where our XNet connector is connected. And we might also add another interface on the left here. So, these are our inputs. These are our outputs. And that should just drop in as a replacement. And that's sped up our furnace a little bit. Now these upgrades, even with the energy upgrades, this will use a bit more power, probably quite a bit more power, than the previous setup. And that's the reason we wanted to upgrade our power generation first. We're in the creeping tube dark world too. A minute in and already we've got our first outtake.